In the last 100 years, there's been a recession every 6 years. In the Great Recession of 2008, 9 million people lost their jobs almost instantaneously. That's 6% of the workforce. Despite the high, almost all-time high stock market, we're still at 8% unemployment. 1 in 9 people right now are contract workers or self-employed, and that ratio is even higher for those with advanced degrees. So every job, virtually every job, is possible to be done by robots or computers, and certainly getting more and more of that way in the future. Here's just an example, an automated car assembly factory here in this country, almost completely robotic. These automated plants are not being built just in the developing nations. They're being built in China and soon being built all over the world. Combined with the advanced technologies, the 3D printing, the genetic engineering, these plants will be able to put into countries that can leapfrog the developing countries in production. So industries are being created and destroyed. So think about being one of those laid off and being thrown to the wolves in competition. If it's the first time that you went from a job and you can't find one, so you're trying to start a business, imagine you have kids, you probably have a house, you probably have a mortgage, credit card debt, limited savings, and everybody is after you. You have a limited time for success, and every single mistake you make is critical to your survival. So I want to give you an answer, but before I give you that answer, I really want to look at the other side of the world, like Peter. 7 billion people today, and within 25 years, there will be 10 billion or more. So that's not just people who can help, but people who need things: food, shelter, buildings. The urbanization, for example, in China, like here in Shanghai, the mega cities, is going to provide incredible opportunities for building, for technology, for all sorts of innovation that you can be a part of. So just a couple of quick examples. When the car was invented, you could get any color as long as it was black. Today, what do we have? Underwater vehicles, personal flying vehicles. We've got hybrids. We've got just a whole set of choices. Pretty soon, this will be the view from your own personal spacecraft. And what about services? Education. Started out as the apprenticeship, a father giving a skill to a son, or a mentor providing their knowledge to a group of students. Or now of 500 students in an intro to biology class at MIT. Or hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of students participating in massively online open courses like the robotics course from Stanford. So there's so much innovation available there. Those 3 billion people, we cannot make and build enough schools and universities for them. So you'll have the opportunity to innovate in all these areas. So in this crowded, crazy world, changing in such a way, what is that answer? Well, that answer is entrepreneurship. And how do you start? Build a business while you're in school. So what is entrepreneurship? One of the best definitions I heard is, it's the pursuit of an opportunity without regard to the resources currently controlled. So what does that mean? Pursuit of an opportunity implies a process. And a process can be broken down, it can be learned, it can be taught, and it can be practiced. Without regard to resources controlled, most of the companies in the fastest growing Inc. 5000 group were started with less than $1,000 of founders' money. Simple businesses like a lemonade stand can teach you the fundamentals of business, right? Selling. Nothing happens until you sell something. And that was actually a plaque that my father had in his office for the 25 years that we had an entrepreneurial company that disrupted the steel industry in this country. Supply chain management. Well, if your mom gives you the resources for the lemonade stand, maybe you can sell it for 5 cents, right? But if it costs you something, you need to do a little bit more. Marketing. There's so many things you can learn from a lemonade stand, from another next level business in college, until you can actually practice and get a successful venture. Just like a sport, however, you can't learn entrepreneurship watching a lecture. You can't learn entrepreneurship listening to me. You have to participate. And the lemonade stand, the business in college, those are all the stepping stones toward running a successful business or getting great at a sport. So I want you to look at these three people, very famous dropouts from college, right? Well, I want you to reframe your view of these three people and think about what they got in college. Bill Gates, who created Microsoft while at Harvard, one of his partners was, in fact, his main partner, Paul Allen. But what happened? Paul Allen and Bill Gates met in high school where they hacked computers. And when he thought about creating Microsoft, he thought about who else? Paul Allen and the others, similarly, who he brought onto his Microsoft team. Steve Jobs famously didn't do so well in college. But you know what? In college, he found a course, calligraphy, that he just happened into, and that inspired him to develop the Mac operating system with all that beautiful font, and what you see is what you get. And finally, Michael Dell, he assembled computers and sold them, but what not a lot of people know is that he applied to be a supplier to the Texas system, and because he was the low-cost producer, he would win contracts, and he learned all of the secrets of supply chain management, just in time, keeping your inventory low, all those things that helped make Dell a really successful computer company. So in my 6 years here at IIT, I've been honored and inspired by students who have actually started their businesses and who have gone through that process. I've met them in classes. I've met them at events. I've been introduced to them by our administration. They developed their skills here through project courses, the iPros, through just practicing their businesses. Some failed, some succeeded. And we supported them as they went off and graduated and now have successful businesses. And there's a lot of them happening right now. We recently announced the Innovation Center at IIT, which once it's built, it'll bring all the ingredients together to allow students to create successful enterprises. Now imagine that you're a student starting a business. You have your housing paid for. You're on a food plan. Everybody around you is supportive. You have mentors. You have you have time. And every mistake you make, not critical to your survival, it's actually part of your learning. So let me tell you about 5 of these students that I've had the great pleasure to be around. So meet Tiger. Tiger likes to build things. So he came to IIT in architectural engineering. Makes sense? He was introduced to me by the president, and kind of like Michael Dell, he was the low-cost supplier to a few jobs around the campus and just outside the campus. So he won a few contracts to practice his skill on the road to developing a general contracting company. He came to me for some advice, pricing, profitability, and when he graduated, went out, started a few projects, and then found an opportunity to become a leading contractor of high-tech dental offices using the skills that he learned here at IIT and the business skills that he learned through that mentorship. He has 30 of these that he built already in the first few years. Meet Avello. Avello likes to build relationships. That inspired him, actually, to start the project that connects people remotely using some physical object. He developed that idea with a team of students through about 3 or 4 iPros and started going into business plan competitions, started winning business plan competitions, and getting so good that he was able to pitch venture capitalists for hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment, which allowed him to build and sell these communicating necklaces for teenage girls. And you'll hear a little bit more from Avello and later this afternoon in the program. So meet Richard. Richard loves to disrupt things, whole industries. Kind of like Bill Gates, he met his partners at a previous school. But while going to the Kent Law School here, he recognized that the legal industry is ripe for disruption. And so he and his team, while they were in school, built a few iterations of the business and came up with some good ideas, made a few mistakes, had the time to do that. And after graduation, he hit upon a successful model for a high-growth legal services business that has millions in revenue, 2 offices, one in the Googleplex in Mountain View that I just visited a few weeks ago, this one in Chicago that's his sales office, and he has 20 full-time employees. That's just barely a year after graduating. Meet Taylor. Taylor's the people person and living an entrepreneurial lifestyle. So Taylor is a sociology major, not even a business major, not an engineering major. He came to me with his partner and asked for advice on a coupon business that he was trying to build for Whole Foods. Well, when that didn't quite go as planned, he networked around the city using some of the connections that he made and found an opportunity to bring together interdisciplinary teams that work on behalf of big companies like Nokia and Microsoft, and he now helps others to achieve their dreams. And finally, meet Daria. Daria is a senior business student here at IIT. She's been working with me at the Knapp Center since August. She had a burning desire to do something entrepreneurial, but she didn't have a specific idea. So I introduced her to Alex, an engineering student who developed a bamboo processing technology, a clean technology, renewable technology. She put together a team of business students, law students, engineering students. They developed the business strategy to get this off the ground. They developed and entered a business plan competition. And last week, won first prize at the Idea to Product competition and will represent IIT in Sao Paulo in the global competition in November. And she's watching right now from Pittsburgh, where she just took second place in the Carnegie Mellon Venture Competition. All right. So, We have students working in all kinds of businesses, some of them that definitely will be world-changing: flowers and water, transportation, helping the blind, and saving premature babies. I know out here in the audience, some of you have ideas that'll change the world and be part of that abundance and the opportunity that Peter talked about earlier. Come to us, tell us your story, and be part of the story of IIT. Build a business while you're here. Thank you.